Hello, hello, hello. I want to talk to you guys about a story. Now, when I was in this homeless shelter, I really didn't have much to do. I did sleep a lot, plus there was my school obligations. But from February to June of 2023, I had little to do, and I couldn't play video games. So during this time, and during this whole time I was in the shelter system, I took up a game called Party Classic. Now, Party City Classic is a game where you role play as a political party for fictional countries. You pick a fictional country based on real life culture, and you play as a political party. These countries are also based on real life countries, though there's this one caveat. The game is 20 years old. Where in the last 20 years, hundreds of people have played this game and have impacted these countries and these communities as much as possible, to the point where most of these countries today are almost unrecognizable 20 years on, let alone compared to their real life counterparts. The community is an unusual one. Politics nerds combined with world building nerds competing for a game as old as me. There are people in there with immense artistic and world building talent, and one of those individuals is a man called Snicer. Snicer, also known as Greek Idiot, has made his mark on the community. Role playing as a leading party of the nation of Betaneu inside the game, he has had a large arc spanning thousands of in game years and dozens of real life years involving dozens of characters both in Betaneu and other countries and players. In fact, I am one of those players. Recently, that arc has ended as Snicer has been focusing on the back end of the community as an administrator to Parksy Classic. I've taken the opportunity to interview Snicer, who is currently making Parksy Legacy, an unofficial component of Parksy Classic, to modernize the game and ensure that even if the game goes down, which it does pretty often, the community can still have important portions of the game remain alive and functional. With all that being said, let's talk to Snicer.
Hello.
Hey everyone, so I'm here with Snicer, or what do I call you? Greek Snicer, what do I call you?
Greek idiot is fine. Greek idiot, or the idiot one, or the banana, whatever you want.
I'll call you Greek, okay? I'll call you Greek.
Greek. I'm actually Greek, so yeah.
Oh
That
yeah,
works.
yeah. Are, I didn't even have a question with involving like your life in Greece or whatever. So maybe you could tell us what Greece is, like what Greece is like from your perspective because you lived there and stuff.
Yeah. So first things first, dude. I want to thank you for the introduction. I really appreciate it, and I'm glad you had fun with the whole stories and whatnot. I remember a time when like 2 years ago when you and I were meddling all over the world or something with a bunch of players, and it was awesome. It was epic. The
It
plot
was,
twists
yeah.
and stuff like that. Yeah, so I had a blast with you, man, and really love that most of the stuff is still on the wiki.
Yep.
And the other player right now in your country is actually using the stuff you made and we made together like 4 centuries ago, basically. So yeah, I appreciate that, man. So
Yeah.
Greece, yeah.
Go ahead. Go
Uh,
ahead.
so so Greece, it's what you see in the news, like sunny. People are not lazy. They're not lazy. Actually, Greeks are one of the most hardworking folks I've ever seen. But they're very. It probably has something to do with the sun. Like when you're hot all the time,
Hmm.
not all the time, but you get the idea. Tensions rise. Temperature rises, tensions rise as well, and folks are very, they have a proclivity to being mad or something. I
Yeah.
don't know. Everyone's loud. Everyone's honking their horns. It's a livid place. It's a vivid place actually, and livid sometimes, but you get the idea. It's a beautiful country. I have actually traveled more abroad than in Greece. It's a great place to visit. It's a great place to stay. Quality of life is awesome. Quality of food. you know, there's there's this phrase that, yeah, completely sum ups um, Greece. Greece is basically has great food, has great life, but doesn't
Mm-hmm.
have great structures and great jobs. Uh,
Yeah,
everywhere else in Europe, like, or in the United States, you have great jobs, you have great structures, but you don't have great food, you don't have great life. And Greece, you win some, you lose some. Greece is a great destination for holidays.
yeah.
Because
I recall the area might be prone to earthquakes, so I've heard that there's earthquakes in Istanbul, which is not too far from Greece. So, um, are there many earthquakes in Greece, or
yeah, I think we had like a dozen over the last 9 months or something. But small scale ones, you can definitely feel them. But uh, most buildings have anti-earthquake, not on the level you see Japan or something like that, but
yeah,
that things don't fall. For example, in the United States, a lot of your buildings are with wood and stuff like that, but in
wood,
Greece, it's
brick, all
all
those?
yeah. We have concrete, and so structures are more solid here, so the earthquakes don't really do anything. There's a lot of earthquakes, yeah, sure, but it's okay, there was an earthquake yesterday. Sure, did you feel it? Yeah, I did. That's it.
All right, okay. Now I actually got actual questions for you. Um,
Yeah, go for it.
all right. So the first question here is: tell me the first time that you saw Park City Classic. The first ever time you saw it. What stood out,
Uh,
and why did you join the community? And also, what do you remember of your first few days or months there?
so next question. 2006. Sorry for the background noise.
It's all
Uh,
right.
two,
It's all right.
okay, yeah, there's a field. There's a park, and they're having a match. I think basketball or something. Um, 2006, probably. I think I'm currently like the ancient one in the community. I remember the first things I remember is we moved to the classic forums. There was another forum back then, and I was like the second registration right after the game's creator, like a day difference
Router,
or
right?
something like that. Yeah, we're Wouter. I have no idea how to pronounce his name. So I
Yeah, for
remember that.
sorry,
Sorry.
I was gonna say for the fears out there, for listeners out there, Wouter is
Yeah.
the creator of creator of Park City Classic, also the creator of Park City Alpha, which is a separate thing. So you might be referencing other people who are big in the community, and one of those people is Wouter.
Yeah, and the first things that stood out, I joined the game, I think by accident. I was looking for a creative outlet, uh, and geopolitics, and it combined geopolitics with English for me back then. So it
Oh,
was an
nice.
awesome, fun exercise to progress the language because I'm not a native speaker, as you can listen from my voice, from my
Yeah.
accent. So I was looking for I didn't the details are murky, like it's been 20 years. I was like a young person. It's crazy, like I don't even remember, gosh. Anyway, um and I remember the players, like the internet was a very different place back then. There was no PC, no nothing, and I remember players, including some who are also active right now. um, it was so open, so wild, man. Like empires and meddling and nation raids, and it was crazy back then. And it was just crazy, yeah, yeah. But I remember that feeling that the possibilities were limitless, and you could role play so many scenarios. And I actually founded a nation, which is still alive today,
Nice.
20 years later, right? It's crazy.
And that actually leads to my next questions. And so in terms of your early days, what were you like? Do you have any regrets from that time? And do you have good memories of that time?
Um, so like most, I wanna respond, but without offending anyone, because I don't care. Basically, I was a troll. Not troll, not in the bad way troll, but in the good way troll. Like I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
down, I was down for shenanigans, right? I said yes to everything. I regret nothing because the game. I was gone for like 15 years after that. I just never came back to the game until like 2 years ago. Um, it left such a good memory because I played like in summers for like 2 years or something back then. And it was like I combined it with music and holidays, and so it nice community taste. And was the community was much larger back then. Like we had 150, 200 people actively playing. I think.
Jesus. That's a
Yeah, it
lot of
was
people.
crazy. Yeah, you can imagine the chaos, right? And we didn't even have foreign-based countries. We didn't have a continent. We were missing a continent, so it was crazy. Yeah, but it left uh, a nice memory of a fun game back then. It was fun.
Well, you did come back here last year or 2 years ago, as you said. Why did you? What made you want to turn and well, why did you leave first place years ago? I think you might have answered some of those questions already. But yeah.
Yeah, so I think I left because eventually you kind of grow up, and it was the financial crisis. Remember
Yeah.
remember that one?
Well, I was
2008.
3 years
You don't.
old,
Okay.
so.
You
But yeah,
lucky
I've heard, I've
bastard.
heard of it.
You lucky bastard. It was like the end of the world. It kind of felt that way. Was can I
Oh
curse?
yeah, oh yeah. In Greece, there's
Yeah,
that whole debt
sorry.
thing.
I was about to drop the f bomb.
Oh,
Sorry about
you can
that.
curse. You can curse. You can curse. This is not like.
Okay. I know your audience if you want to do a PG-18 or something. Anyway, so yeah, I left the game because reality struck, and it
Yeah.
struck really hard because of the financial crisis,
Mm-hmm.
and I basically built my life and stuff like that. The years passed, and then at some point I had a very big project at work, which was rather draining. And
Mm-hmm.
I at some point I stopped being a gamer. I was a gamer once, and I was looking like I was bored. I think it popped into my
What
head, and
happened?
I was like, "What's the game do? Is it still around?" Like, and I saw it, being live, and I had no idea about the community. I found the nation. It's clicked on. I None of the accounts I could remember back then. Just registered and let's go. Let's do it. Yeah, fine. Let's play. I was looking for a creative outlet because the nice thing about the game,
Mm-hmm.
particularly however you pronounce it, is it's just pure creativity, man. Just pure creative writing,
Oh yeah.
and and
Oh
it's
yeah.
and I immediately clicked. I was looking for something like that, and boom, there you go. And I created some stupid stories spanning 6,000 years or something, whatever. Because
With the gems, right? With the gems too.
sorry.
With the gems too,
Uh, yeah, and the bot started. I started developing the bot. That was the first version, like 2 months in or something, like 52.27.
Yeah.
Uh, even before the Kudratian emergency, the civil war you guys did in your nation.
Yeah,
Even
yeah.
before that, and it was exciting because I found a community which was admittedly in a different state, but everyone was very eager to play. So, but I was having so much fun, man. Like I was working at the same time, and like I could save like 20 minutes, and I did a post with a couple of players. It was so fun coming back.
All right. um, this is a long one, so I'll just say it. Now, you're currently the administrator of Park City Classic, maintaining the game, and even coding relating to it to make it better for the community. Now, for the viewers out there, just to repeat, this game and I are the same age. 20 years. 20 years. So you have to deal with code from as old as 20 years ago. Were you ever frustrated at that? Or did you think it was a challenge that you wanted to take, and why?
That's a fair question. Just for a little bit of context, so the game Particracy was invented by Wouter Livens, as you said before, like in 2005, whatever. He's from Belgium, I think. Um, so the game belongs to him. I claim no ownership, no nothing,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah,
and I will never do. I don't care. So there are basically three versions of the game. Like
yeah.
there's two versions and one spin-off. So the original game is called Classic.
Mm-hmm.
The attempted upgrade of the game that Were himself coded was called Alpha, and I think that died in 2021 or something.
Yeah,
And
I was under Discord and no,
yeah, so
I no one's. I'm not saying no one's on there, but everyone's pretty quiet. So
yeah, so the new version of the game by the creator himself is dead. It's been dead for like 4 years now.
yeah,
You know much more about the alpha version yourself than me,
I've
and
really never played it. This
you've
time
never played it. Okay, but
I
yeah, but you
never
know more
played
about it. Okay,
it.
I know very little about alpha,
uh,
and once I started playing, because I was very passionate about it, and I'm a coder myself, who used to be at least. It's a hobby of mine. So I found a way to combine, creative writing and geopolitics with a little bit of coding, and I created, I think, the newsfeed bot. So basically, it scraped news from forum posts by players and then posted them on Discord like you had a newsfeed, and headlines would pop up, and suddenly everyone was more engaged. It was far easier to read what's up and stuff like that. So I created it, out of fun, out of passion, and I have no access to the original code of Classic or Alpha. I have no access to the servers. I claim no ownership, no nothing. I've given my code to Weir because it's basically Legacy, the spin-off version. We call it Legacy. Is fun made, right? It's
yeah,
it's not a replacement of the game. It's not a newer version of the game. So it's basically here's how it worked. Classic has game mechanics, and around those game mechanics, the community developed a forum and an RP basis, like over the span of Jesus Christ, 20 years. And Legacy is the reverse, right?
mm-hmm.
That's why it's called Legacy. So it's a spin-off. It's basically a UI, right? It's meant to put the RP and the forum-based game now dead center, whereas Classic was game mechanics at the core and then forum and then RP around it. Legacy is the reverse. It's the RP at the core. So I'm not inventing anything. I'm not creating game mechanics. It's not a new version of the game. It's a spin-off, because the new
Yeah,
version of the game is actually the forums, right? The community itself over the years, and especially over the last 2 years, where we dive very heavily into RP. So basically, we made the game mechanic like secondary. It's just a bunch of buttons you can click, and we all started doing RP and forgot about the game. And so basically, that's why the spin-off was created, and it's been developed over the course of the last 2 years. So there was no agenda behind it, right?
yeah, yeah. And you're still working on it right now, right? You're
Yeah,
still
because it's
working on
fun.
Legacy.
Yeah, exactly. I kind of expedited a few aspects because the actual game, the classic,
Yeah, it broke
uh,
down. It's
yeah, it broke down for like 2 weeks, and we had no news about it. So I'm like, okay, Christ, we got
and
to do something. We need to look at something, right?
and for our viewers out there, the game broke down like a week or two ago, and it's just yesterday it restarted. It's on now, and recently the game is kind of let's just say die. Well, not die, but like it keeps dying. It keeps going offline and all that. So um yeah.
Yeah, it's a very old game.
It
I
is.
have no idea whether It's been updated or stuff like that. I have no idea. I have no access to it. Uh, I was asked by the game creator like a year ago to moderate the community in the game. So my job is to, keep the community safe, fun, creative, and click some buttons, right? Like perform some tasks, like clean accounts, reactivate people, clean some stuff like party builds and stuff like that. Rename settings, and it's very basic, the access we have, and that's the whole gist. And he asked me to do it like a year ago, and ever since I've like I'm not called the moderator right now. I'm called an admin because we have moderators. Because I was very
Yeah, I
explicit.
was one of them.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah. Anyway, go
Yeah, I
ahead.
was clear to. I was clear to where I don't want to moderate the game. I'm here to play the game, but I'm happy like to help you do that. And so we ended up with basically the game creator. I'm the one appointed by the game creator, and then I kind of tried to create an environment where the community itself would manage itself, right? So we have other mods right now who do not exactly report to me. They can do their own tasks and
Yeah.
whatever.
Um. Now, is this community? Nope. That was the other. I kind of skipped the question. But here's the actual question: do you have any
Yeah.
regrets at maintaining the community? Did you have any plans for the community or the game that you were later on able to implement? And if so, do you think you can still achieve those plans?
Uh, nope. I have no regrets. I had no plans. I have no plans. I, you know, a lot of players in the community are very surprised at this because it's weird. Particularly has a very niche community, and
Yeah.
and we're very. I don't want to say the word uptight, but we kind of are, right? We're very protective of the whole thing.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, there you go. You
Oh
understand what I'm saying.
yeah.
Yeah,
I admit
so
it. I admit it because
you've
it's
been
true.
there. I've
Yeah.
had moments where I've been there, but you know, a lot of players for a lot of time have been very frustrated, even confused at the minimum, and frustrated sometimes of my general, attitude of I don't really care. Because at the end of the day, I just want to play a game with a bunch of players from around the world I don't even know. So what's the fuss about? Yeah, why should I regret stuff? Why should I have plans? Like I log on like twice a day for like a couple of hours to play the game, like quote unquote play the game, and I hang around with community and stuff like that. But they don't care. Like as soon as I close the game, I'm like, whatever, it's done. Wait, so that drove a lot of people mad because they were very protective about the game, and I basically didn't care. And uh, so no regrets. So no regrets, no plans. Like we'll go with the flow. If we want to do that, sure. If we want to do the other thing, sure. If we don't want to do that, sure. And I use the term we because at the end of the day, everything's driven by the community of this game and has been like for the last at least 2 years. So why would I have plans, right? We have plans. We have a direction. As a community, we decide what to do and what not to do. So there
Exactly.
you go. I
Exactly.
know it sounds weird. You probably don't believe me yourself, but because because the
Wow.
question because the question arises, right? Like,
Yeah.
dude, Greek, if you don't care, how come you did all these massive
Yeah.
stories
Yeah.
spanning thousands of years, and you basically were world power, and you became a mod, and then you became an admin,
And
and
then
then
you're
you start
coding, and
coding
then
a
you're
game.
making legacy too.
Like you can't reciprocate those two, right? It's weird, but I'm like, that's why it's happening. That's why I managed to do those things because I don't give a fuck. I want to play. I want to have fun. I'm doing it out of pure fun, and you should too. That's how you enjoy the game. You have fun with the game. You just play it. That's
Yeah.
it. It's a game.
Now, here's the actual question that I almost ran towards, but okay, here we go. Is this community, in your opinion, a better place now than when you joined or when you rejoined? And if so, why? And if not, why?
Yes, it is in a better place. Um, Guy is smirking here in the context of the question. Because you're a whistle with that question. So yes, it's in a better place, and the reason for that is because we uh, shift the core and the focus. Let me phrase that. We changed from managing the game to self-managing the game. So instead of having the community, uh, be instead of here you go, there you go. I have a phrase. So it is in a better place than 2 years ago, and the reason for that is we moved from the community that was following to a community that began, leading the game and what it wants. So that's the major change. That's why it's in a better place.
All right. Now we can finally get on to the actual nation-based questions, because I've been
All right.
I've been asking you about all the community stuff and all the maintenance stuff. I reckon that might be a little tiring for all of us. So let's get on with it. Now, when you rejoined this game, you played as the nation of Betaneu, which for our listeners out there is a nation that's kind of based on Israel. Why did you join Betaneu? What made it stand out in your perspective?
Honestly, I have no idea. I can't remember. For the life of me, I can't remember where I picked Beitenu from the list. The first nation I had, like back in 2006, made sense because it's Greek, like, right? It's Calopia. We made it Greek. Yeah, so it made sense. I'm Greek. It's a Greek nation, Greek-based nation. So I don't even remember why dude, I seriously, I don't remember why I picked Beitenu from the list. However, I decided to stay in Beitenu because I eventually, like very quickly, realized that there's a platform with that nation to do the whole conspiracy stuff in real life, like those silly things, and actually flip them on their head and Beitenu. So Beitenu is based on real life Israel, but it works in the opposite way. So whereas in real life, the Jews basically fund and protect the Holy Land and Israel. With Beitenu, it's the reverse. Beitenu exists to serve the diaspora. So that was a fascinating concept for me, and I realized there was a massive platform to do a reverse, a weird, a very plot based. It was crazy. That's why I stayed, because I saw, like, I wanted to revert, and the nation itself was very open to previous RP that was not exactly good per se. It was horrible, actually. So I was like, okay, let's reform that. Let's change the narrative. Let's make it so that nobody ever even can imagine Beitenu like real life Israel, right?
Yeah.
I think I did it. I think I managed to do that.
I think so. I can't tell. I was part of the whole thing with the gems, with the Olympic family, with the Kondrati, Beitenu Alliance, and the whole Hubris War thing, and the whole mess after that.
Yeah, yeah. It's so many stories, dude. It was awesome.
Okay, now you will play this huge arc that spanned thousands of in-game years. Why did you keep going? Were there any moments in that arc that you regret? I think you might have answered the first one about why you kept going, but still, why did you keep going? And were there any moments in that arc that you regret?
Nope, no regrets. It's a game. It's you're kind of asking me about the regret part, like I would regret, if I fire up my Xbox.
I have one more question regarding regrets.
Regret? Okay, fine. Every time my ass is gonna be, I have no regrets. What? Just let me. Sorry about that.
It's all right. It's all right. It's all right. No, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Okay.
Right? Disruptive call. So
It's all right.
the whole thing about regrets is you're asking me. Let's imagine this scenario, right? I fire up my Xbox and I open Halo 5, right?
Right.
And after I finish the game, you ask me, do you have regrets with anything you did with Halo 5? Why the fuck why would I do that? Anyway, so yeah. So yeah, I kept going because there was always something new and exciting, right?
All right.
Like this whole massive arc. It's a weird flashback, flash forward, kind of lost based. Anyway, so I started the roleplay with the nation, and the whole. So basically, it's 1,000 stories based on one story. So that's the idea. The one story I came up like 200 years later. I didn't even start the whole the one baseline story, which is the civil war of the two factions, came later, right? So I started doing the stories, the other story, because it was fun. I had no plans. I'm actually called in the game like the plot guy, right? It's so funny because I had no plots, right? I had no plans. I was just going, like having fun. I found an opportunity and came up with something on the spot. But because it was weird, the whole plan was weird, the whole agenda was weird. It kind of created this essence about the nation that there's something stinky, right? It talks like a duck, it walks like a duck, must be a duck, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't acting like that. It was so weird, and you cannot. And the whole nation, for
Mm-hmm.
4 centuries walked on the gray lines, right? You knew it was bad, but it was not acting bad.
Yeah. Compared to our nations too. Compared to our nations,
Yeah, it was kind of unique. So that created a lot of opportunities with players. I think I've role played with more than 50 people the last 2 years on hundreds of stories in 50 plus nations. And the reason I kept going is because it was fun. There was the whole base plot came later. The whole thing was I was having so much fun, man, with stories with players, and it was awesome. It was amazing multiplayer mode.
a weird multiplayer mode, right? It was weird.
Sorry?
A little weird multiplayer. Multiplayer. It's a little weird because
You mean phrasing it like that as a multiplayer?
no. Like because we're role playing on a browser game, a big multiplayer thing.
Yeah.
That's at the end of the game. At the end of the day, Party is like supposed to be a game where you will play political parties and
Yeah.
politics, and now it's a bit geopolitical thing. It's like the Netflix series, The Diplomat, kinda.
Yeah. Oh my god, I love that series.
So do I.
Fucking love that series. I could not stop. I like binge watched the whole tracker like in a day or something. I could not stop watching. Yeah. So particularly for me as politics and geopolitics, we kind of due to lower numbers in the community. Uh, Again, sorry for the background.
Sure.
Due to lower numbers in the community, it's not really that possible to do internal politics because there's not enough players to maintain parties. So I think I kind of drove the shift towards the geopolitics, right? Because I think before me it was not so prevalent, at least according to feedback from players who were before me. So I started RPing with because I had no players in my nation, right? So I started RPing with other players. So it turned into geopolitics, and suddenly I seem to have created a platform like everyone was like, holy shit, we can basically do internal politics on the global stage, which is interesting. and everything went geopolitics after that. It's been 2 years of geopolitics and nothing else.
Yep. Yep. um. Now, did you ever consider joining another nation and role playing a separate arc or a separate idea?
Yeah, I actually tried twice. I tried doing Colombia, having the prime minister, the actual prime minister, fall down an elevator shaft by accident. It was a comical thing because I was bored.
Like
The other
Sildania,
one,
right? Like Sildania.
yeah, Saldania was actually me owning the country and funding terrorism, but I was not in the country. That's the beauty of it. Uh, you could actually feel like I was in Sildania because of the whole meddling thing. So, and the other nation, I tried nation. It's not exactly a nation. I took over the island, whatever, of the thing we like of the United Nations of the game.
Whale
So,
Island, right? Whale Island.
Whale Island, yeah, and the Isle of Livens, named after the creator himself. So,
Uh, the
uh,
Wu Leaven's Pillars of Creation,
Pillars
right?
of Creation. Yeah, if I thought about it on the spot because I read about a canon history thing in particular wiki, and I was like, okay, so if they started there, let me name a bunch of stones after the game's creator. Anyway, so no, I probably won't be joining other nations. I think I'm gonna fade a little bit. I think I had my fun and time to move on. No, I'm not
Yeah.
gonna live the game, but I think I'm gonna go like in hiatus or something. Do you pronounce it like that? Like
What?
hiatus? Hiatus? You know,
Hiatus.
hiatus. Okay, perfect. Thank you, brother. So I'm gonna go into a hiatus. Yeah.
All right. Um. Now we spoke about regrets, and
Yeah, let's talk about regrets.
the last. It's actually the last question. It's really, do you have any regrets regarding your roleplay at all? Any roleplay you've done here, and it doesn't have to be
Nope.
Bethany based or
Nope. No
nope.
regrets.
No regrets.
Actually, I had so much fun. So much fun.
Yeah.
Like the peak was the War of Lost Souls with Lewis and
Oh
Loren.
yeah.
Oh my god. Oh my god. And the movies after that. Oh shit. So much fun. Shit.
Yeah. For the viewers out there, they actually made little short films about the World War Souls, the stuff in up to. They still actually make some short films from time to time about other stuff too. It's all based on Park City, the roleplay in Park City. And uh, do you have a YouTube channel? The name of the YouTube channel for me, or
Yeah. Terran Broadcasting Channel. So it's not I made the thing, but I've kind of opened it to the community, so whoever wants to join the channel, they can if they play the game and want to upload stuff. Another player is doing it also.
yeah.
It's called Terran Broadcasting Channel.
Okay, and we'll have the link to that channel in the description.
Woo!
So,
Awesome.
yeah. We'll also have the Discord link and the links to the prtcy.com website. That's the legacy website, right?
Yeah, that's the legacy website.
We'll have all those in the description.
Perfect.
No, those
so
are
this is
my
going on YouTube?
yeah.
Awesome.
Go ahead. I'll let you finish and then I'll do my thing.
No, I have nothing else. It's awesome. What you're doing is awesome, dude.
Okay. Now, those are my questions. Those are my 10 questions. Now I'm going to throw it to Greek. If he has any questions, he has up to 5 questions to throw at me. So, Greek, the stage is yours if you want to do it.
So, do you have any regret? No. Let's talk about the regrets. Yeah. So, I actually have one question for you.
Yeah.
What made you, stay in Kundrati, your nation, for so long?
That's actually a pretty good question. And honestly, there's a big story around us joining karate. It's not just me. Obviously, there's Jab Jab, Myung-Dai, uh, there's also Starfruit, and Ray Marska. Ray Marska. So the four people plus me, we all kind of joined Kundrati, and we made it into this little social democracy. And then everyone else just started to drop a little bit. From time to time, we'll all be active, and we all like we would bring a lot of people to our country, and we'll have this big little internal democratic roleplay. And then everyone left, and I was just there. And honestly, as I said in the introduction, I was in the shelter system, and one of the things that would distract me from that was Party Classic, and the whole art that you guys are doing, the whole thing with Jig. I was up for that. So
Yeah.
I joined the whole arc, and I helped with it, and that helped me get through what was going on in my life. And also,
That's cool.
and
That's
also,
cool. That's yeah. That's admirable, man. That's awesome.
yeah, and
Seriously.
with I mean, the community was awesome. The community is awesome, and they're supportive.
Yeah.
I don't think I even told you guys about what I was going through until like May last year. I think I don't know. But they're you all are very supportive. You all are very awesome, and that's why I decided to stay there. And it's also because well, Inchate is kind of my home.
Yeah, I get you, man, 100%. Yeah, that's you know, a lot of folks seem to find some solace in particular during hard times. Myself included, right? I had a big project. Workload was fucked up. Uh, so many deadlines and stuff like that. So if I found an outlet myself to to do the distraction, it was not much of a distraction part, but the distraction, not distraction. Um, but it was more of an outlet, right? So it seems like everyone in the community is using Particular for an outlet of sorts, whether
Yeah.
to distract themselves, to hone their writing skills, to have fun with players. Because at the end of the day, if you look at Particular and cast away the 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 stupid, the silly actually disagreements and
Oh yeah.
the
We're all
tiny bits of
passionate.
drama. Yeah, the tiny bits of drama here and there sprinkled because every online community has of those.
Yeah.
Like if you cast away, disregard those. At the end of the day, Particular is and limitless creative writing outlet. Actually, limitless. You can make designs, videos. You can make conferences. You can make whatever hell you want, and that's also combined with awesome folks to do that with. So yeah, I understand. This is one of the reasons I'm still around because I see a nice place. I can log on. I used to log on like multiple times a day. Now I can log on
So
like
do I. So do
uh,
I. So do I.
times change, right? But
Yeah.
but it's still like I'm gonna I want to fire up Discord and see what's up. What's the bantering like? What's the latest news? And it's fun. It's fun with fun folks. As long as we remember it's a game, right? It's just a silly game.
Yeah. It is a mere game. All right.
Yeah, it's very easy to forget that, right? When you're very
It is.
passionate
Yeah.
about the story you're creating and you're immersed like in the whole thing, and then someone comes along and no, that's not right, and you go crazy and just relax. It's a game. It's fine. Nobody cares. You don't care. Like you'll forget about it in a week. So
Yeah.
they say that when you see people be tense and be furious about something, they say it's because there's a passion behind it. They care. Because if you didn't care, if you had no passion about it, you wouldn't scream your lungs out, right? You
Yeah.
wouldn't be
No.
trying to reason. So this is what I choose to look at. I see a bunch of people for. I actually met one in Vienna. We had coffee. Like it was
Oh,
awesome.
M-Bites, right?
I'm right. Yeah, yeah. I actually told the guy to bring a banana.
Did he?
I
Really?
shit you not. He brought banana. Yeah.
Oh my
And he's
god.
like, "Are you Greek? Are you from Greece?" And he gave me the banana. I was like, "Yeah, dude, bring the banana." And we had some fun. And it's if you put aside all the nerdiness of I'm more powerful, no, you're not, and stuff like that. If you just forget about that, this place is this game and this community is so awesome because like look at it, it's been alive for 20 years despite a broken game. It's been alive for 20 years. It's crazy if you think about it.
It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot to take in. It's a lot to. It's a lot. All
It's
right.
you said yourself. It's like you're the same age as the game itself. So think about
Yeah.
that for a second.
Yeah, and it's
Eh,
weird.
It's a game with
Compared
zero
to
updates.
yeah,
It's a game with zero updates. It's a text-based political game with zero updates,
and yet
and
somehow
it's
we put all the
still
work into
here.
it.
And it's still here. The goddamn thing is still here. Not, it's
Yeah.
actually not just here, but it's over the last 2 years, it's been improving, community-wise, game-wise, quality-wise. It's crazy. Like 20 years later, are you shitting me? Like what the fuck? There must be something
And you came
special
back two
about it.
years ago, and you came back 2 years ago after a long break too. So
Overall, like, yeah, exactly. And it seems to draw people in. Like you cannot forget about this game for some reason.
yeah.
Beyond the stupid, silly, disagreements here and there.
Oh yeah.
It's a fantastic, wholesome community. I just cannot put my finger on it. Why? Because I think everyone comes here and they find peers. If you're looking for an outlet on a very specific thing, right?
Parsi
You're
classic.
bound, yeah, you're bound to find out people who are looking for exactly the same thing in a
Yep.
very specific thing in a specific way. So it's bound to create some ties. I still remember the usernames of players from 2006.
There's there's actually a game called Nation States that's actually much older by 2 years than Parsi Classic, and it was originally based. It was originally like a promotional thing, but it spun off into its own thing. And it's nation states for our viewers is where you play as a nation in regions. Regions are like groupings of nations. It has a bigger community, a way bigger community, way active, more active community. So there are people out there with specific niches that formed a much bigger following. So compare, there are people out there.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any other questions for me or no?
Question for you. No, actually, that was my biggest question. Like, yeah, it's not more of a question, but you are like, you know, there's all kinds of players, right?
Yeah.
One player, everyone has a different play style. But for some reason, even in the most outrageous scenarios where you betrayed me and I lost the fucking war, uh, we, it's awesome to me because I knew like you were. I was like 99% certain you were not offended, you were not frustrated.
I was
You
scared.
understood. Sorry.
I was scared.
You were scared. Okay, so I would blow up your nation, right? Yeah. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, but the thing is, you and I, even without coordinating, like we did coordinate, but like we had so many moments where other players would be so frustrated with the scenario. But you and I always, I was always certain you were not frustrated. You were not, you know, um, you were fine because you knew it was a story, you knew it was a game, and you knew I had no bad intentions to destroy you and whatever and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that was kind of awesome to me, and one of the reasons I will always like respond to your DMs and whatever, send you scientists so you can develop ballistic missiles. I don't care because I know like we have fun first as players, and then the story doesn't matter actually how it unfolds, right? I don't care
Right.
about that. I care about the first part and the hordes from the background as well. So yeah, that's what I want to say. So it was not a question, not a point actually, but I just want to say, thank you for the awesome moments we had, and basically the lack of frustration. Like
Yeah, and
even
thank
even
you.
even in the craziest parts, you and I were not frustrated. We were playing a game. It was awesome. So thank you for that, man.
Yeah, and thank you very much. No background noise on my end, but seriously, thank you. You've. I'm actually speechless now, but like you gave me an outlet, and you helped me give me an outlet to deal with a lot of shit, and I'm personally happy for that. I'm personally happy that you were there to help me go along the roleplay, go through the roleplay, and it's it's very motivating, and I'm very happy for
uh,
that.
I appreciate that, dude, and I'm happy you found a community that was able to support you even
Yeah,
anonymously. And sometimes you need some strangers to have your back with a good word, a good story.
yeah,
It helps, right?
it
So I'm
does.
glad. I'm glad we managed to create a community, at least transform the community into a place where you can always come back and post your glory to contrary shit on Discord.
Yes.
And everyone understands you're trolling right there, and you have a community. So I appreciate it, and I'm glad you have us on the game to get you through some weird times, man.
Yeah, and I'm going through some weird times right now with personal shit, so I might need you guys a little bit more. but I
Yeah,
also have like other projects too, and
yeah. Just reach out, man. Just DM
yeah,
anyone. Uh, I'm sadly not that available anymore.
yeah,
But
because yeah,
there are like 40, 50 people out there who are very nonchalant about it, so they
yeah,
don't care. Just reach out publicly, do your stuff, and let's have fun. Like sometimes fun and a silly little game out of the 2006 or something is all you need to get you through the night at the shelter, right?
yeah. Always weird things now. We've I just feel like we've spoken for almost an hour. We're literally
We
50
did.
minutes in. Oh, 50 minutes in.
Shit. So
Wow.
we're having fun.
Yeah. and
By the way, I should have said that like at the beginning, but I wanted to apologize to everyone about my weird Greek accent. I
no,
know
it's
I know it's
okay.
above yeah I know it's above average for considering like I'm not a native speaker, but still like I apologize to everyone for some of the expressions you did not understand.
It's all right. I mean, I kind of have a little accent myself.
Yeah, everyone does.
Which
Everyone
yeah.
does.
So sometimes it
So
goes through and it makes
for for your non-native English speaking viewers out there, so the trick to speak better English, or at least American English, is to remember two things. First, do the R. Do
yeah.
just do that one, and it sounds American like that. And the second thing is, don't open your mouth too much. Like think about it. Americans are very efficient. They want to get the job done, so they will not articulate as much and speak in open expressions. Like so, keep your mouth closed, do the R, and you sound American, right?
Yeah. And get some hamburgers, stuff them in your mouth, and
But even better, even better. That's even better, right?
yeah, yeah. Well, as much fun as we had recently, I do want to end the interview soon, and I'm very glad they could join me. I'm very glad that we could do this interview. Um, this is
Sure.
10:15 with by Hieronymus with Nicer slash Greek Idiot, and we'll just get on with the conclusion. And we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Thanks for having me, man. And I hope this helps. It doesn't sound too horrible on my end when you upload the thing.
Oh no, I have to stop the recording. I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.
Ah.
Now, I'm glad to have spoken to Snicer, and I'm really glad that we've had this conversation. People often want a sense of belonging. For example, someone who has a hobby might seek out others who have a similar hobby, and from there make friendships and because they have a hobby that they both like and appreciate. Park City Classic is such a niche community, but it still gives a sense of belonging. Without that community, this 20-year-old game would have died out before the golden age of side-side nation states. To this day, it is still astonishing that there's a small but dedicated community working to make Classic a wonderful place to have fun. And as Sasha says, it's just a game. We're all here to have fun, right? Now, I'm very glad to have him on, and I'm glad that we've had this conversation. This is honestly the first episode of 10:15, and I hope that you've seen the potential of something like this, a chill conversation between friends. And I hope you'll join me for the ride. Until we meet again, I'll see you guys next time. Take care, everyone.